All right, thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to our new home. A few months ago I finished seder nezikin, and I've been planning on making a siyum for a while, and I said, okay, we'll make a siyum, we have to thank God we have a new home, we're going to... Mark said it's Dekel Gimel, so like, got the men on one side, got the women on the other side. Anyway, so we thought, okay, we'll combine them, and we'll discuss, we'll have my Siyum, and we'll have the Channukat at the same time, and we decided, to invite our closer friends, so we could actually all fit in and enjoy ourselves, have a nice breakfast, and so first of all, I want to thank you all for being our friends, even though we've moved out of Zayit, and we can still hold on to the kesher with our close friends. It's nice to have you all there for us. Also, I want to thank Malka for everything she's done, both for the party and for her family in general, and making this happen to have this home, and to thank God that we had the privilege of finding a nice home that suits our needs. We can still be close to our friends in Zayit, and thank God for giving us the children to fill the house with. So it's very exciting for us. Anyway, so I want to also fill our new home, God willing, with Torah, and thought combining the Siyum and the Channukat Habayit was a nice way of launching it. I was trying to think of, okay, the seder nezikin, there's a lot of things about chazaka, about a house, so I thought maybe I can find something, and then I realized everything I could think of was very technical, and didn't want to bore you guys too much with, when you get the keys, then you get the chazaka, when you put up the fence, which we still haven't done, you get the chazaka, and so I said, you know what, I thought of something that I remembered learning at the time, and back in the day when I had a little more time in my hands, and I still wrote on a blog, I wrote a little Dvar Torah about something that I learned in Bava Batra, and Yishai actually commented on it, because I went back to look at it, and I saw Yishai commented back then. Thank you, I appreciate it. Because I didn't get too many comments on my blog, and that's one of the reasons I stopped. And since not so many people read it, I decided to print it up, and I'm going to read it and force you guys to listen to it now. It's actually an interesting idea, and I think it can tie into what we're commemorating today as well. So in Bava Batra, on Daf Kuf Yud Zayin, it talks about a machloket over whether the people coming into Eretz Yisrael, the Nachla is divided up according to the people coming into Eretz Yisrael with Yoshua, or it's divided up according to the people who left Mitzrayim, and then it's divided up according to their descendants. And the machloket, of course, each man d'amar has their own pasuk as the source, and of course, as any Gemara goes, if there's machloket, then the other man d'amar has to justify the other pasuk that he's not using. So one of the rationalizations sort of reconciled both opinions and said, no, it's actually both. The Nachala is divided up by both the people who left Mitzrayim and the people who are coming into Eretz Yisrael. So how does that work? So he said the Nachala of Eretz Yisrael is very different from Nachala of any other place, and the reason is when you inherit a land, or you inherit a house, or you inherit something, usually you're alive and the person you're inheriting it from is dead. The living inherits the deceased, whereas in Eretz Yisrael, in a way, the deceased is inheriting the living. And in that way, the people who are coming into Eretz Yisrael, are actually, they're the ones who are settling it, but the people who had left Mitzrayim are also inheriting it through them, vicariously, if you will. And so at the time, so the reason I wrote about it in the blog is I sort of expanded upon it, sticking in my usual Zionist propaganda, which is saying that this doesn't only apply to the technical detail of who actually inherits in the time of Yeshua, the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim, but actually this should apply even today. We have this big privilege that our ancestors for the past 2,000 years, our most immediate ancestors we see of all four of my grandparents, went through the Holocaust, and Malka's great grandparents were in Europe and fled. And of course, and not only the most recent history, but for 2,000 years, we've been trying to come back home to our Nachala to settle our land. And by doing so, it's not only for us, but it's for our ancestors. And our ancestors are vicariously inheriting Eretz Yisrael through us. So with that, it's a big privilege that we get to have this new home, thank God. And by doing so, we're settling the land for us and for our ancestors. And we hope that we bring a zchut also to our parents, our grandparents, and ancestors. So because it's been several months, and I
just move over a little.
It's been several months, and I did
the light,
and I did it out of order. I'm not going to say the last section that, of Oriyot, but I'm just going to start with the Hadron. Hadron Allah seder nezikin v'hadra chalan. I also just want to point out that yesterday I was talking to a Chiloni colleague of mine. And I said, yeah, we're doing Channukat Habayit, and we're making a Siyum. And she's like, oh, Siyum al-ma? I said, Siyum al-Torah, I was like, zeo? Like, there's no more learning after this? You're done? And I thought that was, for a moment, like, when you start explaining things, all of a sudden you realize the beauty in it. Like, when we're saying Hadron Allah, but we're never finished learning. It's always something new, always something exciting, and we're always going back to it. And when you stop and think about it for a minute, then you can appreciate it a little more. Hadron Allah, seder nezikin, Data nalach mesech seder nezikin v'data chalan. Lo ninashe minach seder nezikin v'lo tinaseh minan lo ba'alma hadin v'lo ba'alma data. Yeres omot nachal na'aleinu v'lo. V'teinu shtei toratcha u'menatenu b'olam hazeh v'teinu manu v'olam haba. Chanina bar papa, Rami bar papa, Nachman bar papa, Achai bar papa, Abba Mari bar papa, Rafram bar papa, Rachish bar papa, Surfa bar papa, Ada bar papa, Daru bar papa. Arevna Adonai Eloheinu et Yirei Torah Papa Pinu Habayit Yisrael Niyah. Kulanu Anachnu B'Tzitzenu B'Tzitzenu B'Tzitzei. Habayit Yisrael Kulanu Yidei Shemachnu V'Lomdei Toratach Lishma. Me'avaytecha Meini Mitzvotecha Kilo Ili Bi Tamid B'Chutecha Leman Lo Yevosh V'Olam Lo Yeshkach B'Chutecha Kivam Chitani Baruch Atah Adonai Lamdei Nefutecha Amen Amen Amen. Selah Ve'ed. Modi Anachnu Levanecha Adonai Eloheinu V'Avotenu ששמת חלקנו מיושבי בית המדרש ולא שמת חלקנו מיושבי קרנות שאנו משקיעים והם משקיעים אנו משקיעים לדברי והם משקיעים לדברים מתחילים אנו המלאים והם המלאים אנו המלאים מקבלים נזכר והם המלאים ואינו מקבלים נזכר אנו רצים והם רצים אנו רצים לחיי העולם הבא והם רצים לבאר שחר 12 ואתה אלוהים תורידם לבאר שחר אנשי דמים ומרמה לא יפשו ימיהם ואני אפתח פה כן סולו נחל נעלינו כשם שעזרתנו לסיים מסכת ולעלות בתר כן תעזרנו להתחיל מסכת לסיים סדר נזיקין כן תעזרנו להתחיל מהסכתות וסדרים וספרים אחרים ולסיימם, ללמוד וללמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. זכות כל התנאים והאמוראים לתלמידי חכמים יעמוד לי ולזרעי שלא תמוש התורה בפי ומפי זרעי וזרע זרעי עד עולם. תתקיים בהתהלך תנחה אותך ושוכבך תשמור עליך והקיצות אותך כי תשיחך כי בי ירבו ימיך ויוסיפו בך שנות חיים אורך במילה בשמאלה אשר בכבוד אדוני עוז עמו ייתן אדוני יברך לנו בשלום. יתקדש ויתקדש ברבה. אמן. יהיו עתידי התחלת וליחיה ויחיה ולעז ליתון ולחי עלמה ולמבנה קרתא ירושלים ולשכללה החלי בגבה ולמעקר פלחנה נופרה מנהרה ולעטבה פלחנה תשמעיה לאתרי וימליך קודשא בריחו במלכותי ויקרי בחייכון ומייכון בחיי לכל בית ישראל והגלבת מהקריב אמרו אמן. אמן. ישמעי רבם ברח לעולם ומלמיה יברח וישברח וישבר וישמע מתנשא ותדר ותלה ותלה שמנפוצ'ה בריחו אלא מכל ברכתו ושירת ושפחתו ונחמתה דאמר בעלמה ואמרו אמן. הישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידי עון ועל כל תלמידי עון ועל כל מען דעסקין ובאורייתא די ואתרא הדין ודי בכל אתר ואתר יהי לנו ולכון שלמה רבה חינה בחיסטה ברחמים וחיים אריכנו מזוני רביחי ופרוקנה מן קדם אבוהון דיבשמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רמת שלום וחיים עלינו ובכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. אמן. יעשה שלום מרמיו ויעשה שלום לנו ובכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. אמן. Thanks, Joe.